So today we are going to talk about the various ocean movement in ocean. There are basically mainly three type of movements that take place in ocean. First one is waves, second is tides, and third one is ocean current. These movement in ocean takes place. The reason behind these movements are various, these are influenced by various factors like temperature of the ocean water, the salinity, that is the amount of salt that is present in the ocean water, also influence the movement in the ocean. Next one is density, how dense the water is, and various other factors are responsible. These all are known as internal factors, whereas there are certain external factors as well that lead to various movements in the oceanic water. These external factors can be sun, moon, wind. Sun and moon have an impact on the movement in the ocean water through their gravitational force. Okay. So today we are going to talk majorly about waves and tides. Ocean current, we'll talk about it in next video. So now talking about waves. What are waves? Waves are the up and down motion of ocean water. That is, when the ocean water moves up or goes down, this movement is known as waves. This is a quiet ocean water, and when there is this movement, gives rise to waves. Okay, the waves they move horizontally, that is, they move this way. A wave first position would be, if it is here, the second position will go here, third position will be here, that it is moving horizontally from here to here to here. Okay, so it moves horizontally, and it is the movement of, it is not the water that moves. The water that is present here will remain here only, but only the energy because of which this waves are being created, it moves. Okay, it is the movement of energy and not water. Okay, so why is this wave is being created? What is the reason behind it? Okay, the reason behind the formation of reason behind waves is wind. Okay, so the waves are created because of winds. The shape, the size, the strength of the waves, it can be this, it can be this, it can be very high, it can be very low. It all depends on the strength of the wind, how strong the winds are, and how long it blows, how much distance it covers. These all factors lead to the different shape and different formation of waves. The reason behind waves is the wind. It is the external factor because of which the waves are being created. So the reason behind waves creation is external and not internal. Okay. So not talking about the characteristics of waves or the basically what all characteristics of waves. Now let's create a wave. The highest part of the wave, that is this, is known as the crest of the wave. whereas the lowest part of it is known as the trough. It is the lowest part which is known as the trough, and the highest point is known as the rest of the wave. And the water particles that are present in the ocean while waves are passing through it, they move in circular pattern. They move like this. Okay, they move in circular pattern, the water particles. So I hope the concept of waves, how they are created, and what are different characteristics of wave, the reason behind it, all is clear, and what exactly waves is clear to you. Now coming up with the next formation that takes place in ocean is tides. We all must have heard of tides, that there are there are various types of tides, and what we generally talk about is high tide and low tide. But apart from these two types, there are some other types of tides as well, and that we are going to talk about it in this video. So, what are tides? Tides are like regular rise and fall in the sea level. It is not up and down movement in the sea, but the level of the sea. That is, assume that in normal circumstances, this is the sea level and it is a wall here, and it is ocean or sea. But when it will be the low tide, there will be a downward movement in the water level, and the water level will become this. Okay, so from this normal level during low tide, the water goes down to this level, and when it comes to high tide, the water level goes up. If it is the normal water level, it will rise up to reach this level, and it is known as high tide. Hope this is clear. And the reason behind this increase or decrease in water level is external again, cause of tide formation. It is due to the gravitational pull of both sun and the moon. It is because of the movement of these two that the tides are created. It also the rotation of the earth is responsible as the earth rotates, and the position of these two changes with respect to earth. The various different types of tides are formed. Now, what are various types of tides? That, as I was telling, it is like it's what we know is high tide, low tide. There are types of tides. One is spring tide. Spring tide, they occur during two different phases of moon. They occur during full moon and new moon. These are the days when sun, moon, and earth fall in a single line. Okay. Now, there can be a different position as well when these three will be aligned. So in this case, when moon is between sun and earth, it is during new moon. It is what we call as new moon. Okay. And when sun, earth, and moon are aligned in this pattern, we call it a full moon. Okay. So these are two different reasons two different patterns in which these three align, and these pattern give rise to a spring tide. Okay, so the next one is neap tide. This happens when the moon is in the first or the last quarter of, like, when the moon, this is the moon, it is like almost like this. It in the waning or waxing phase, when it is 1/4, then it leads to neap tide. And in the during the neap tide, sun, moon, and earth are in kind of a, like, sorry, perpendicular position. Okay, so sun will be here, moon will be here, and earth will be here. It can be like this as well: earth, sun, and moon. Fine. When the moon is above the earth, it is the third quarter, and when moon is below the earth, it is the first quarter. In the in the case of third quarter, it is known as lunar tide, and in case of first quarter, it is known as solar tide. That is, in this case, the effect of moon is more, so it is lunar tide. In this case, the effect of sun or the gravitational pull of sun is more, it is known as solar tide. And here also, I forgot to mention, this is the case of when the moon is in between, it is the case of lunar tide. And here, when earth is in between, it is the case of solar tide. Right? Now, moving forward, there are different stages in tide as well. The high tide and the low tide that we talk about are the. Now we'll talk about the stages of tide. High tide, when the water level is above normal sea level, and low tide, when the water level is with the sea level is below normal sea level. There are two more stages. There is flood tide and there is ebb tide. Flood tide is when the water level is rising from low to high level. During this between wala phase, we call it flood tide. And when the water level is declining, that is from the high tide, it is moving towards the low tide. This phase is known as ebb tide. Okay. So why tides are actually important? There is this importance associated with tides as well. They help in, the dock with the harbors, the ship harbors that we know, where the ship come and dock, like they stay there to load off or load the product in the various item in the ship. This tide really help because when during the normal level, when the water level is here, and when the ship comes, if under the water level and the harbor is here, it is difficult to go down and reach to the products. But when it is high tide, the water level increases, the ship comes here, and it is easy to grab products from it. Okay. And there are various other benefits associated with this also, and the tides also help in creation of renewable energy. They are also source of renewable energy. So these are the two movements in ocean water that we covered about tides and waves. In the next video, I will explain ocean currents. And then take care, see you soon. Bye.